Yo, what's good, family? We back on deck, working class intellectuals. We in the building. You know what it is. I am your host, Dr. Joseph Richardson, a.k.a. JoJo, Philly, Uptown 215. That's what family and friends know me as, and I'm here with the revolutionary.
Hey guys, you already know what it is. It's the Young Revolutionist Shay. Hey, my words of wisdom for today are 2015 was practice. 2016 was a warm-up. 2017 is game time, baby.
It's game time, man, and I ain't on the bench, so I'm in the game fully. So, yo.
It's all in the past.
First thing we got to talk, we can't even toast like the setup. Y'all don't really see the setup. We so far away from each other, we can't even toast it up in this.
We can't even toast it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but
anyway, we got good wine. We got an amazing guest. We're going to drink it up, chop it up like we usually do. But before we get into it, I got a story to tell. Shout out to
that's
my
that
man,
Philly
man.
shit.
But it's cold as hell out there today.
Hey, it's
right?
freezing.
I told people, man, March ain't no punk.
No,
People like, yo, we gonna start running around with shorts on.
Yeah.
Nah, B.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
like-
snow.
it's like
I thought it was gonna be a real blizzard though. They
It's
kept
like
saying
20
it was going to be
degrees out
5
there.
10 inches
Yeah, it is. They frauded on that because
Yeah.
we ain't even get that much.
at all.
But yo, let me jump into the story. I don't think we got no more to say about Trump. We'll stop talking about Trump.
Fuck
Usually
Trump.
at the beginning of this show I talk about Trump, but fuck Trump. But yo, let me tell you how we got to this guest, our esteemed guest here. So, shout out to my man Reggie over at Adam's house, PG Department of Health.
Reggie, what's up, Reggie?
Because Reggie made the contact. But besides Reggie just making the contact, I'm going to put this in context. Every year in the country, we just talked about this with my man Eugene Perrier last week with his book Shackled and Chained about mass incarceration and capitalism in America. But every year, 600,000 people come out of U.S. prisons and jails, which is we call reentry or returning citizens. And currently, I direct, fortunately enough, it's a lot of damn work, but the Prince George's County Smart Reentry Grant, which is designed to provide social services and help dudes get back on social services, jobs, housing, getting your license, going back to school, providing dudes who are coming out of Prince George's County Jail with a way to get back on their feet, because we see like 12,000 people coming in and out of the jails every year just out in our county, which has roughly almost like 1 million people. And so this brother who's sitting at the table with us tonight is a brother that I met through my man Reggie, and when we talk about reentry, he was the first person that came to mind, because I think he has like one of the more amazing stories to tell about what it's like to come home. And so this episode is the coming home episode, the returning citizens episode. We haven't decided, we might choose both, but I like to welcome my man, for coming here. We're going to chop it up. I like his politics. I like the shit that he talks about. This is my man, Adam Alston. Salute!
Welcome, man.
Salute.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thank y'all for having me.
So yo, let's just start out with we already talked about how you and I clicked up through Reggie,
Right.
but I just want you to give talk about a little bit about how you grew up, where you grew up at.
Oh well, I'm actually a local boy, if you will. I predominantly grew up in the District Heights area. That's probably about like 10 minutes outside of DC. But I consider myself to be have a interstate style of background, because majority of my family from Chicago, so I have heavy roots there. And
Shout out
Salute to Chicago.
yeah.
West side or south side?
South side, all day, man. That's pretty much where my family come from, and that's where I spent a lot of my childhood, back and forth between Maryland and Chicago. You know, when my mother needed a break in the summertime, you know, her being a single mother,
She sent you out there.
shipped us all out, man. You know, I got a lot of valuable life lessons or whatnot from that side, as well as you know, from my local area. That's pretty much how I came up. You know, it's a lot of stories in between these two areas of growing up, but I feel like both of them pretty much gave me the tools and what I would need. Sometimes I used them in the wrong way, but all in all, they were the tools that helped to build me ultimately to who I am today.
You went to middle school here?
I did.
What middle school did you go to?
Drew Freeman.
I went to Drew Freeman too.
Salute to Drew Freeman. That's our adopted school,
I went
right?
to Shady Side too.
Yeah, we adopted Drew Freeman. That's part of our school we work with, man. Shout out to Drew Freeman.
Shout out Drew Freeman, man. Shout out Suitland, man.
Yeah, definitely. That was my high school too, man.
Suitland?
Yeah.
How'd you like growing up in just going to Suitland? I was experienced there, man.
Yeah, it was real, man.
Yeah.
You know, I tell a little running joke, man. The program that I was in was when I was in Suitland was called Maryland's Tomorrow, you know, but everybody knows, like, that's just a program that gets what they consider the riffraff just through without dropping out or whatever like that, just doing enough. And it was actually in the time of Bush's No Child Left Behind era, so, you know, instead of, you know, kicking kids out or constantly having the truancy officers and all of that at your door for skipping school or whatever, you know, they actually put you up under a mentor predominantly for your whole 4 years. But at the same time, I consider that program to have been a detriment to my academic development because they just ditto you to death. You know, they don't really.
So it was kind of like a Green Valley. Remember Green Valley? The alternative school. So they had an alternative program in school.
Or what's that other drink? Croon.
Croon, I remember Croon. Yeah, I definitely remember Croon. So in Suitland, like back when I was there, I mean, we had all the different, you know, the little hoods, Homer Avenue and Forest Creek and all that. Did you experience like them type of situations growing up?
Oh yeah, man. I actually, you know, hung out around Home Avenue because my neighborhood that I came out of, we called it GSC or gas station.
Gas station. I remember gas station.
Like we had somewhat of an alliance, so you know we was in and out of each other's hoods, hanging out. But actually, when you bring up Forest Creek, we was during my time back then. We was actually beefing with them like heavy. So, and then like. You know, thinking about it, fast forward, somehow they ended up getting with Home Avenue. You know, so I was
they ended up clicking up.
Like that just never sat well with me, or I never gained clarity. But you know, I was a young kid, so I really didn't understand the politics of all that back then. You just knew what was considered once your enemy is now an ally.
I remember we had. I'm not sure if you remember Who the Fuck Wanted Crew. Yeah. That's who I was with. Man. I remember that, man. That was back in them days, man. We was just out here. We was just out here doing everything. It's crazy that you say home. Like, remember the patrols? Yeah. You had the patrols by Shady Side and all that.
What you think is the difference between like the whole PG DC cruise, and then when you go out to Chicago, you dealing with real gangs, like you dealing with GDs. Black Disciples, you know what I'm saying, Stone Folk, Mickey Cobras. What's the difference?
Well, I would say they all one and the same because they pretty much conditioning young brothers in the etiquette of street soldiering, right? Because that's always a concept, like whether you hear it in rap music or gangster movies, it's looked highly upon to be considered a soldier out here or earning stripes or whatever. But where I would draw the line is structure. You know, when in this area it's predominantly you just hanging with the men you grew or the friends that grew up in your same environment or you know, who can align with some of the everyday struggles that you align with, as opposed to Chicago or some of these other cities that will be considered gang, you know, territories where there's a hierarchy of things.
Right.
You know, where, like, you know, I made a quip about soldiers, you know, we, in gang life, you know, is considered OG, but if you put a military context to it, you consider the OG the general of that army, you know, so that's pretty much where I would say the difference is, and there is no no to a commandment. You know, when you order to do something, that's what it is. Ain't no questions asked. But like, you know, like you said, out here in the PGDC area, crews and all of that, you know, there's no really real pressure to do anything. And if y'all gonna do anything, y'all gonna do it as a unit, as opposed to being given a mission to go execute with however many receive that mission, if you will.
When you was out in Chicago, did you ever, you know, did they ever ask you like, yo, you wanna rock with us out here, whether it was GD or BD?
Oh, nah, I won't even make that claim. My grandmothers and uncles wasn't having that, man. Cause they do, if Adam Alston came back across that state line and I was wearing anybody's flag, it was gonna be a problem.
Right.
So, and plus, like, I had a lot of uncles coming up who lived that lifestyle, you know. Some of them was affiliated or had relationships with some, you know, well-known gangsters out there. One of them being Jeff Fulk. My uncle had a real intimate relationship with him, both in the streets and while incarcerated. And I found out that he actually lived across the hall from my mother's aunt when she was coming up. So, you know, just like, by them living that kind of lifestyle, and especially, you know, my Uncle John Paul, he's almost 70 years old, and it's a true testament to say that he's spent probably 75% of his life incarcerated, in and out of prison, you know. But so just having that whole environment, and like I said, you know, we see it every day on the news or whatever, the issues in Chicago, both the south side and the west side, you know, just the senseless killings and all of that, you know, that's just not something that any of my family members wanted for me or my siblings, you know, and my cousins, you know, with them already living that lifestyle, they really didn't, you know, wouldn't allow us to be participatory to any of that kind of activity out there.
So where do you fall as far as the sibling age range? Are you the oldest?
Nah, I'm the middle. I got an older sister and I got a younger brother. But my younger brother, I really don't like to consider like calling him baby or none of that, because he's only a year younger than me.
Right.
And in all actuality, he looks older than me. So, you know, I just call him my brother for real, if anything.
So you was going out to Chicago, coming back and forth. You was at Suitland. What was high school like for you?
It was an experience. I would say, you know, I didn't take full advantage of all of the opportunities that was presented to me in high school because, like I said, you know, we spoke on it earlier, you know, just running with my friends or whatever like that, you know, I didn't take it really serious. Plus, you know, the program kind of like that I said I was in wasn't really instilling in me anything that really wanted to make me really chase my future, if you will, you know. So, like, I think I just was going just because I had to go. Wasn't just sitting up in the house all day doing nothing. So, and plus, you know, like I said, you know, with my mother being a single parent when I was coming up, you know, I kind of like felt at least I owed her that much to graduate from high school, if you will, you know. So, but all in all, I like I said, I just really didn't take advantage of it, although I did for a short period when I was in high school, and I'm still trying to figure out how I ended up doing it. I was on the wrestling team.
What?
Yeah, I was on the wrestling team at my school. Me and my best friend, got with a guy who was kind of like in the neighborhood, and his brother really pushed him to do wrestling, and we ended up getting cool with him or whatever like that in 8th grade, and we actually went out to check it out. But you know, us being lazy, don't want to run, don't want to condition, we quit. But in the 11th grade, we kind of like just was like, man, let's just try it out. So we ended up doing that for a couple years. But yeah.
So how was you? You was nice?
I ain't gonna fake, you know, you gotta get started early if you want to be considered considered a champ. But I done well, you know, I wasn't no bum, I wasn't counting no lights, you know, on the ground, squirming like no fish.
Basically, you sound like you could slam the shit out of somebody. You had to.
Yeah, if I had to, yeah.
Respect.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's nice.
It's man, you bring back a lot of memories, man, especially, you know, that's super high school days, man. So when you was wrestling, like how did your boys or the out of the circle, did they make any comments, or was it why you doing this, why you doing that, or was it just more I'm gonna support you?
Cause you had to wear the crazy suit, right?
And all that shit, yeah.
But you don't have a cauliflower ear. That's a good thing, man. Cause wrestling dudes, no disrespect, but them wrestling dudes' ears be looking crazy.
Yeah, it's like you put a pin in them joints, they just gonna start leaking vicious.
Man.
But none of my friends in the neighborhood really was too abrasive or whatever. Like, you know, we'd have our little jokes or whatever, but you know, you had to give respect, because at least I was
doing something,
putting my time into something positive, as opposed to just coming home and just participating in the everyday activities of nothingness. You know, so they gave me my respect in that regard. Nothing really, they wasn't vicious, like always trying to get out on you, and they didn't want to try you.
Yeah, they want no problems.
Right. Ain't want no problems. You slamming dudes like Ric Flair.
You
know what I mean?
No
Shout out to Ric Flair.
No sharpshooter.
Why you wearing Suitland, like as you were approaching, you know, graduation? What were your thoughts about like what was going to happen for you after graduation? Because a lot of times, even on the college level, right? You know, we have students here who, as we approach May, and it's happening for a lot of students. Shout out to my girl Christina, because she knows what she's doing. Super intern going to the doctor program. But a lot of people don't know where they're going, right? So, as you were approaching graduation, what was on your mind?
It was a minute ago, but it still rang clear in my mind. My senior year, I got into a vocation program to do electrical work. I got into a program, you know, by the skin of my teeth, because like I said, man, college was not really on my agenda, you know, and had I not gotten into that program, I really honestly didn't know what I would have done. So, but like I said, you know, senior year, I was in this electrician program, so leading up to graduation, I really was, I did well enough in the program where I felt I could make a career out of it, you know, but I really wasn't sure at the same time, too, because I also wanted to go into the Navy. So I was kind of like on the fence in regards to that, and I think the military thing just was because my mother did a full military career. She retired, you know, in high standards from the military, and I just had to think about the Navy, and I think I saw one night, just up late one night, watching this special mini-series they did about Navy SEALs. So I was like, damn, man, I think I could do that, you know. I think I'm built to try that out. So I think that's where the Navy thing came in. But like I said, when I graduated, I ended up going to college though, because my mother put it in my mind. She was like, okay, just think about it. If you go to the Navy, you'll go in enlisted. You know, you can end up anywhere they send you, the whole nine like that. But if you go in with some type of college or something like that in your background, you know, you could become an officer, and you kind of like take control of your future from that point. So even though I was like, you know, damn, I just want to go in the Navy so I can do this training, I'm trying to be a SEAL. And all of that. You know, she did plant the seed in me that, you know, you should just at least give college a try before you do anything.
You regret it? You regret that you're not a SEAL?
I think we'll be able to speak more on that, you know, moving forward. But I do think about it sometimes because, you know, that was like a dream of mine, and you know, certain, you know, considering certain instances that occurred in my life that can't be anymore. So I do sit back sometimes and just think about it, like, damn, man, I could have been on that Bin Laden squad, man. I could have been the one to pop his top, you know.
So before we move on, man, I'm gonna kind of rewind a little bit. So as far as growing up, you know, just mom dukes, you know what I'm saying, single parent household, man, like how was it, you know what I'm saying? I know how it was for me not having my pops around.
Yeah.
How was it for you not having your pops around, you know what I'm saying? For whatever reason the case might be, but you know, just seeing mom dukes go through what she went through being a single mom, like how does that make you appreciate, you know, women more, or I mean, what's your
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because my pops was like around, but he just wasn't in the condition to be a father for real. You know, rest his soul. He passed away now, but
rest in peace.
He had a vicious drinking problem, right? You know, and like he wasn't like abusive or none of that type of stuff, but he just wasn't mentally or emotionally there to be like no real father or whatever like that. And although I go see him or whatever like that, you know, you kind of like lose respect in a sense because you like, damn, Slim, like,
you could be doing much more.
Yeah, especially if you like right up the street for real. You like literally right
that's
up
how
the
it was
street.
with my father. My father
so
used to drink like that and live right around the corner from me.
Yeah, man. So like, even though, like I said, I love
Rest
him
in
or
peace.
whatever he had for the reason why I'm here, like, you know, it was just funny because I do remember the times, you know, it was like hard on my mother. You know, like I said, you know, it's 3 of us and she doing it all on her own. You know, sometimes banging out 3 jobs at a time, they might get it done for us, but I kind of like understand now as I'm older, you know, I just feel as though he had some things in his life that he was never able to fully get in control of, which kind of like maybe led to that vice.
Yeah.
You know,
Did y'all ever rap about it? Did y'all ever talk about it?
Nah, because like at the time I was too young and my mind couldn't really grasp that, you know,
articulate.
Yeah, so but I do understand, and I think at some points in time I kind of like just forgive him in my own way because, you know, he kind of like had a rough life coming up himself. You know, his mother was very young when she had him. I think she was like 13 when she had him, and she gave him away. You know, and although he was adopted into a welcoming home or whatever like that's just something I feel like you can never fully like cope with. Like, damn, man, what I do wrong or whatever like that, you know.
So did you ever feel like, you know what I'm saying, seeing mom dukes working 3 jobs, man, did you ever feel like, you know what, man, I gotta go out and get some paper, I gotta make some money, man, I gotta help my mother. I know for me that's how, you know what I'm saying, I ended up getting into the situations I got into, because I was just trying to help the household.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like a twofold thing. Yeah, I can sit here and say I did it all for the sake of the household, but at the same time, I gotta recognize that, you know, I was a product of my environment. So what was going on around me, you know, I wanted hands in too.
Yeah. So it wasn't even the fact that she was doing 3 jobs. It was more of, you know, it's been around.
Yeah, you know, you just want to participate too, and especially when you can't, like, they tell you, oh, you gotta be 16 to get a job and all of this type of stuff, and like you tired of asking for money, and you know ain't nothing gonna come your way. So you gotta get it how Grant got Richmond, I guess, you know.
So when you graduate from high school, you 17 or 18, around 17, 18 years old, you go to college, then what?
So I was this my first go around at PG, you know. I just really felt I wasn't ready that environment because I definitely know through my high school experience I wasn't equipped with the tools to be successful at the college level, but for the sake of my mother, like I said, you know, she just said, just give it a try. I done it for her. So my first semester, I was so. You know, I did fairly well, and I still trip to this day that, like, I took a philosophy class, like, no experience in philosophy or to that level of reading or, like, really critically thinking, and I got a B in the class, but, like, my math classes and all of that, I was, you know, so. They was developmental courses, of course. So I was so, but like my spring semester, like I just was not committed, and it showed in my work or whatever. So you know, I'm going to class.
Was you not committed because you felt like you weren't prepared for the classes, and that you just checked out, or you just was like, I'm really not just with it right now at this moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's once again, it's twofold. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, and two, I just, my interest just was not lying there. So of course, like, I'ma just go just to go, and plus, you know, your benefits paying for me to be here, so I have to go. I'm not gonna let that go to waste. But like, I just wasn't committed, and I was not mature enough to execute the way I was supposed to in that environment. So ultimately, I ended up failing that semester, and you know, just like, man, I gotta do something else. Like, cause I just did not want to. I just was not into it at all. I was just thinking about my own dreams and aspirations, and like, of course, me being 18, I feel like, you know, I'm a full-blooded man now. I'm ready to start making my own decisions, do what I want to do, you know. But that's when I came into that summer that kind of like changed my life for the rest of my life.
So what happened that summer?
That summer was actually when I became incarcerated. So you know, I got into, committed a crime, me and my mind or whatever, not thinking, you know, got into it with a guy, man. One thing led to another where we was at the point where we almost took this dude's life, you know, and like, long story short, man, and like, when I was first going through it, man, like, I just had some, like, crazy thoughts, like, damn, man, I don't know why we ain't just get them all the way out of there. I don't know why we ain't get them all the way out of there. But, long story short, the guy ended up telling on us or whatever like that. So we ended up getting caught, you know what I'm saying? Fast forward, sitting in Upper Marlboro for almost a year.
That's the jail, y'all, for people that don't know PG. Upper Marlboro is
Fuck
the
Upper
jail for
Marlboro.
PG.
Fuck the county, fuck the PG police, fuck them all.
Yeah, man, but like, yeah, like, it just led to a situation where I'm sitting in front of somebody who now hold the weight of my life in their hands, you feel me? And long story short, the dice didn't roll in my favor, so, you know, she stood up on the stand, told me I had 25 years and sign this paperwork and go get started.
So did you take it to trial, or you?
Oh, well, nah, I ain't even gonna bullshit the baby, man. They was talking about something. When I got them charging papers, that thing said a life train, because they was like, they was pushing for that attempted first-degree murder, and I'm like, attempted? He's alive. How you gonna keep pushing on that?
Right.
Like, they was not coming down off that, and like, once again, that's just me not being knowledgeable of the law, the way, you know, I tell a lot of young dudes now, you know, who out here, who want to play this street game, understand the rules of the game before you start playing, and that's in all facets, not just that street code, etiquette bullshit. Also, on the other side of the fence, should you ever get caught, you need to understand the rules of that game as well. But, you know, I had a very shady lawyer, you know, he kind of like sold me up the river talking about, oh man, I know the state's attorney. We had a past relationship together. I think you'll be alright.
Yeah, that's how they do you though.
Yeah, man.
That's how they do
And
you.
this right.
They'll swap you out real quick.
Damn right. And I'm
Life
like,
for
man,
life.
shit, at 5 o'clock, they all having drinks together at the
Hell
end of the
yeah.
workday.
They chilling.
So, you know, he kind of like was constantly in my ear talking about some, well, yeah, man, you know, you a first time offender or whatever. Man, your guidelines pretty much say 3 to 8. So, like, you know, I'm telling, you know, I tell these things to my mother, man, because one thing for sure, two things for certain. She was always there, you know.
Shout out my
Homeboys who claimed they was homeboys, never saw them, never got a letter, the whole nine, you know, but she was always there, and I tell her everything, like, look, man, I ain't confident in this guy, man, he talking about take this plea. I'm trying to take this thing to trial. So she tell me some of the dispositions she went to or some of the motion hearings that she could go to, but I physically couldn't be there.
So when you was knocked, you ain't had no bail.
Not at first, man. And actually, I remember that to this day. It kind of like tripped me out, man. You know, like I said, I was first time offender, 18 years old. Get up in front of the judge. Well, they had us on screen or whatever. They didn't physically bring us to the courthouse. They bring us in like this little fake courtroom in the back of the jail, and you go up for your bond review. So I go up for the bond review, and you know, they running down the Rolodex. You know, they get and I never understood this. Why the defense got to go first? Why not the prosecution, then the defense? You know, because I don't think it's fair that they get the last word.
Just like home court advantage.
Yeah, something like it. So, yeah, man. So of course they gonna sully my name on the prosecution side. Oh, he's a menace to society. He's this, that, and the third. The whole nine. They even went into my juvenile record and all of that.
It's supposed to
and
be
that's
exposed,
supposed to be
right,
sealed.
Right.
Went in my juvenile record, put that all on display. And like I just listened, and like my lawyer, this is where it first dawned on me, like Slim really not for me. So he virtually said nothing. Like he just sat there and was like, oh man, well, I just really feel like he should have a bond. And that's it. Like no argument, no nothing. So the judge at that point just straight up told me no bond. So I had to sit in there. So it was this white dude came up there, you know what I'm saying? His father was in there talking a little bit, his lawyer was talking for him, you know, so they tried to play up the mental health with him, and like he did some heinous shit, like burn somebody's shit down while they was in there and all of that. Man, they gave that man like a $15,000 bond. He was out of there by 12 o'clock that day.
Yeah, that's why our whole bail system is bullshit. That's why we need bail reform, because the whole idea of bail is nonsense. Like if you got it, you get to go, but if you don't got it, you get to stay. And it's just based on whether you had the money or not.
But it's crazy. It's crazy how at first you was like they didn't give you no bond, man. Cause it's like when I got into a similar situation, they gave me no bond, but then when they did give me a bond, they hit me with $1 million bond. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, first of all, y'all gonna hold me for 3-4 months without giving me a bond. Right. On top of that, y'all gonna throw $1 million at me?
King's Ranch.
Yeah.
So it's like when we in these situations, man, it's like man, all we can do is pray, man. That's all I did was pray. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely relate to
yeah, man. You know, but like I said, even still, because I did, you know, kind of like press the issue or whatever. It was like, man, I know you can file a motion to see something, you could make something shake. So he did that or whatever, and that joint was still, like you said, like $250,000. I'm like, ain't nobody got that kind of cash. So then, you know, I just told my mother, I was like, man, look, don't even sweat it, man. I'm 4 months in already, man. And should the worst come to the worst, this is time being served now. That you know, whatever happened, that'll take a nice chunk off.
So not to cut you off, bro. So when you sitting there telling Mom Dukes that, man, and you say, you know, man, it's time served, man. Like, what's going on in your mind, man? I can't believe I'm sitting here. Like I'm looking at all these years. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, man. I don't don't know.
Like, cause I always say, you damn near, when I was locked up, I damn near went insane to stay sane. You know what I mean? Like you gotta go through that transformation just to stay, you know what I mean,
Well,
as
like,
yourself.
I don't know. I can only speak for me for real. Like my experience being incarcerated, I think I was, like I said, that was just another at the beginning, like an immature experience for me because I'm sitting here like glorifying it in the sense that you know that's kind of like a detriment in our community too. You know, we sit up here and like glorify the fact that your freedom is hanging in the balance. You know, you making the jail calls, calling people like, oh man, what's good? Like that's slick or something for real.
Yeah.
But in reality, you know, like you could be washed up for good, man.
Yeah.
You know, and like the record, the records used to say back
Straight
then.
being wild.
The records used to say it back then. You know, football numbers. They giving out jersey numbers. That's what they used to say
KDs.
back then. So, but like I'd always, you know, get that dose of reality when my mother did come see me or whatever, cause you know, very strong woman and she experienced these things too, you know, in her younger life, witnessing my uncles and some of her cousins going through the penal system and her just having that experience of visitation and all that. So she was strong in that regard, but it like kind of like broke her in the sense, not really broke her, but like it kind of like messed her up because she never in a million years would have thought one of her own
baby boys
would
in
have
that
been in
situation.
situation. So most definitely that would like bring me back to reality and like, man, this is nothing to be playing with right now.
I want to go back to something you said earlier because I don't think like a lot of, you know, you hear a lot of people say it, but I don't think a lot of young brothers understand. But you getting mail, you getting letters, like from your homies, not from your mom. But let's just talk about the dudes that you was out there on the street with. How much love was you getting from them?
Man, I can only honestly say, man, tried and true. A few of my mans, you know, was writing me like early on, you know, just cause like, oh man, yeah, damn, cuz, all that shit, but. You know, moving forward, you know, like they say, out of sight, out of mind. Like I said, tried and true, man. My best friend, my man Shaka Gordon, man, like that's my ace in the hole in all situations. You know, he rocked out with me through the whole nine, man.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, man, like he always come visit me. He always write me. You know, just making sure I'm doing all right, man. He answer my calls, which is paramount, you know. Because like I said, you know, when you jumping on that phone, you trying to holler at all your old girls or whatever like that. But, you know, when they ain't answering no more, you
call
like,
your man.
Man, yeah, holler at my man. I need this three-way real quick or something. All of that. But, yeah, he always rocked out with me. But for the most part, man, those who claim they was your man, you really learn early on, like, they really don't be for you like that, how they say they be, man.
So your mom is holding you down, your man's holding you down, and then you decide to take the plea.
Yeah,
right?
man.
So you don't take it to trial. And then what happened when you took the plea?
Well, like I said, man, you know, they was up there, man tell me, oh yeah, man, we talking that 3 to 9, 3 to 8, 3 to 8. But then I knew it kind of like got fishy when he came to see me like 2 weeks before I went up for sentencing. He was talking about, yeah, man, so I read your PSI and you scored pretty well, so you're in the 4 to 9 range. I was like, oh man, you just said 3 to 8. These numbers supposed to be going down.
PSI.
Yeah, so yeah, man, but so I got my faith in that, man. I was like, man, shit, man. I just mentally put it in my head, you know, on the low end. I'm like, what, 4 years? That's just a college run. Let me go ahead and get this 4 years of college done real quick.
Before you came up for sentencing, though, how much time had you put in? at the jail?
Shit, I put in like 8 months.
Okay.
So that's almost a year, you know, and then when you going through the process, they kind of like cut some off too. So I thought I'd fairly be home, you know, with that 8 months in, put another 18 months, that's half, maybe a little more, and then I'll be right back out. Didn't work out like that. Went up, like I said, you know, went in there, you know, and I don't got no ill will toward this woman, man, you know, cause I consider it a blessing now, but you know, went up in front of good old Judge Michelle Houghton. You know, at the time she was a seventh district circuit judge in Upper Marlboro. Now she, last I heard, she was on the appellate's court in Maryland. So you know, she done moved up in her career. I must say, 2005-06 was an election year, so who knows? But yeah, went up in front of her, man. You know, she pretty much. I had tons of support. A lot of people, you know, who knew me, knew my background, came, spoke on my behalf. I had a nice one of those manila envelopes, stuffed with letters for character, like all of that. You know, she got a chance to go through all of that. Ladies, you know, she was like, hey,
don't be trying
man, like,
don't be trying
25, man, you know.
So when she hit you with the 25, what went through your mind?
I was just like stuck. I was like looking at her, like I thought I was gonna have one of them moments, because like you always see it on TV or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Somebody either fall back in their chair or they kirk out. So I was just sitting there, you know, I just kind of like just looked at my lawyer, but it would have been no good for me to cuss him all out. Like, what's that gonna do? I just looked at him like, dang, man. So, you know, she gave me 25 years. Like, I just had to swallow that knot real quick, man. And just like, dang, Slim.
What your mom do?
Great. Like, I mean,
she heard it.
Yeah, she was hurt, man. She was hurt, but like what hurt me was so when the bailiff come in, you know, put the cuffs on me, walk me back, you know, where defendants come in from the back of the chambers, you know, I just heard my best friend mother was like, yeah, Adam, we still love you, man. Don't never forget it. Stay strong. We still love you. Then I heard my mother start like breaking down, and then, you know, when I called, when I got back to the jail, when I called, she kind of like found her resolve, you know, pulled herself back together. But then she told me, my best friend broke down. Like she said, when they was leaving out the courthouse, and he was just walking down the stairs, like she was like, man, he just lost it. Like he just started crying, like just couldn't hold it. And then I think what like messed me up the most, you know, going through this process of my sister wasn't even there to support me. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of like a recurring theme throughout that whole process. You know, she was like very in and out. You know what I'm saying? Now, it was one point in time where she 4 years older than me. One point in time when we was growing up as kids, like, you know, I held my sister dear because, you know, when my mother was out, you know, hustling for the family, you know, she was...
Right, basically became the mother.
You know, my sister the
right.
one
That's how my sister is.
Yeah, like my sister the one taught me how to read. My sister, like, before I started school, she was like my teacher. She used to make me write book reports. She used to make me do all of that type of stuff. So, like, we was to the point, like, my sister was like, we called each other twins.
Right.
Like, man, you my twin, but she 4 years older than me. You know, but like when I was going through this whole process, man, she like was rarely there to support me, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of like what was bothering me the most out of all of that.
Why do you think that was? Do you think it was hard for her to see in that type of situation? Or you think,
Nah, because she had a boyfriend, you know, who had done some time, you know, and Slim got all the support. Now, I ain't saying like she was beating the door down for Slim or whatever like that, but she was there for him, you know, wrote him letters back, whatever. I can like count on my hand how many times my sister wrote me, and she never came to see me when I was in Upper Marlboro.
How that shit make you feel? Like that's your sister, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was twins on the outside,
Yeah,
but now you on the inside. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, like you just gotta mentally file it away, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep your poker face on, but like it's something that you don't never forget.
Yeah.
But you just like, dang, Slim, how you going like that though?
Yeah.
You know, you supposed to be like flesh and blood, but hey man, Cain killed Abel.
So they walk you, they walk you, you know, back out the courtroom, and then you got to come back to the jail, and then ultimately they going to transfer you, you know, to a state prison.
Mm-hmm.
Once you finish talking to your moms and you talk to, you know, your people, when did it sink into you that you got this 25 years to do?
Like, and once again, that's where I said, you know, I was operating in a very immature mind at the time, you know, now that I realize it. Because after you get your time, it usually takes them about 2 weeks to come get you and send you up. So, you know, I'm sitting here talking to the guys next to me or whatever, you know, when we on the phone, just taking in all of their legal advice, like, and I'm like, it's never dawning on me, like, why am I listening to a nigga who wearing the same colors I got on right now? He's arrested. Like, I'm being honest.
That's real talk.
You know,
That's real
to
shit.
a lot of these, you know, jailhouse lawyers or whatever like that, but, you know, when you hang your phone up, you hearing him kirking because his girl playing with his lawyer money. He's scratching and crawling to get out of there, but you gonna be sitting in my face telling me the legal avenues I need to be taking.
So was there ever, so before you took the plea, man, do you remember, like, you know what, man, I might just take this bitch to trial?
Yeah, I mean, that was my mindset, man, but like I say, you know, my mom or whatever, she was just like, man, like, the deck is stacked against you, son. You have to think about that. So, like, of course, I don't know.
And then you already thought you was gonna get the 3 to 8.
Yeah, that's off the plea.
Right.
That's what made
Right.
me.
That's what
Yeah.
made you do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. When they talking them type of numbers, you like, alright.
Yeah, you're damn right. Let me get that.
But so I mean, man, see, and the crazy thing is, man, is that I remember being in that same situation, man. I just remember facing that 30, 35, 40. This is like, you know what, Slim, it ain't no way in hell I'm gonna do 40. You know what I mean? So if I gotta do this 40, I'm gonna go out swinging. You know what I'm saying? And just so happened, in my situation where the evidence got mixed up and this wasn't that, and so, you know, after what was that, 20, 21 months. They find me not guilty, now I'm coming home. You know what I'm saying?
That's normally how it goes. They sitting there holding you that
Holding
long.
you down, exactly. They don't got
something
shit.
missing.
Yeah, they don't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? Well, something happened. But a lot of our brothers, man, they take that plea. And it's just like, that's why I don't fuck with the lawyers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing he said was his lawyer. You know
Lawyers do you dirty.
But them lawyers will swap you out, a life for a life.
Come on.
You
The
know
lawyers is down with prosecution, judge, everybody. So like they having dinner later on and drinks. Same day you was sentenced, they hanging out.
They hanging out.
They chilling.
So first, how old are you now?
I'm 30.
30? Okay. So you were
18.
18 when this
I caught my time when I was 19.
like, it's like, man, Doc, it's like when you 17, 18 years old, Slim, and you
You
sitting in
imagine?
front of that judge, it's just like my life in his hands. You know what I'm saying? In their hands. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know this brother of mine, but I appreciate your story, man. I kind of feel like a connection. You know what I'm saying? Because we from damn near the same hood, damn near went through the same similar situations, but we still here to talk about it today, man. And that's when God come in, man. Like, I love my God. You know what I'm saying? I love dream big, stay focused, continue to move on. You know what I mean? This can't stop us, bro.
So Adam, because I'm gonna get to one of the main things I want you to talk about. So you go to state prison. Where'd you go to?
Well, I ended up on the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably recently read about them in the news. They had a big major federal indictment on both compounds. Like everybody used to think that jail was just so sweet and all of that, but like, yeah, that jail was sweet. Everything was like, not once again, I ain't highlighting it or whatever, like, crime page type bullshit, but it was a solid jail, man. I met a lot of solid dudes who wasn't on no bullshit. They actually wanted to see, young brothers progress, like, man, this not what's happening and you too young for you to close the book on your life and
And that's what I wanted to
Shout out to them OGs.
Shout out to the OGs.
OGs, man, the original OGs.
That's still there and that's out here now, living free. But that's what I wanted to get at. Because, I heard your story before, but the rest of the world hasn't.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about that. Because you have mentioned publicly, in conversation, that it was the OGs who really kind of put you on a path, like, yo, your life could be bigger than this 25 that they got you sentenced to.
Mm-hmm.
But what was they telling you? What was the kind of conversations like?
Well, like when I first got there, of course, that's one piece of advice that I can say that I took seriously when I was in Upper Marlboro. You got a lot of dudes who recidivism might as well be their middle name because they constantly in and out. So those are the things you take seriously is from their stories and their experiences. Because you want to try to gain as much knowledge as possible while you waiting to move up the road or whatnot. So what they said to me was, when you get in there, man, don't be so quick to like jump out there or participate or do things of that such. Do things like that. Take that time to observe first. Sit back and learn who's who, what's what, what's going on, things of that nature. Just take that time to be very observant. Don't just go up there just like straight jumping out there because you setting yourself up for failure. So I did take that piece of advice when I went up there. So of course, when I first got up there, I don't know nobody. You go in the day room, you kind of like sitting with your chair to the back of the wall because I need everything in plain view.
Plain sight.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie. My first week up there, I wasn't even a week on the compound. I wake up and I'm going to breakfast. Come back from breakfast. I'm watching this dude come out of the building, head wide open. He caught one of them lock in the sock type demonstrations. So that kind of like let me know, because down up in Marlboro, there wasn't nothing but lock in the cell, let's get it in, that's what it is. But like now, in this situation, you like really know, like Slim, your life is on the line every single day, and there's no question asked about that.
So was you thinking more like, how am I going to get through the day? Or were you really thinking like more on how am I going to do this 25? Was it more, I'm going to do this day to day and hopefully something will turn out in my favor in the long run? Or were you thinking more like long term? Because sometimes you hear, youngins come into, particularly when they like 18 and 24, they not really processing like that amount of time. Like I've heard youngins that I've worked with at DC jail, they like, yo, he got 8. They think 8. They looking at 8 like it's 8 hours.
Yeah,
8, no 8, that's nothing, because they young.
See,
they don't understand.
I think them are the ones who damn near, like I said, go insane, man, because you gotta understand this shit is reality. You know what I'm saying? 8 years mean 8 years. You know what I mean?
Now we talking 25.
Yeah.
So you processing that, and particularly, you was in college, you thought about the Navy. So when you were processing the 25, like, did that drive you crazy?
Like I ain't gonna lie, I fell into that group that you just previously spoke of, man. Like, you don't really like think about it until these years are starting to add up. When you start counting how many birthdays or like counting how many holidays,
I mean, yeah, you miss.
you know, that's when it really start like damn, it's real. But like in the early phases of it, you just going with the motion. Like you said, you just thinking day to day. Just like hoping, like damn man, cause like I said, you know, you don't know nobody, so you like, and I'ma keep it real. Like you can be you could be Rambo in the flesh himself. You know what I'm saying? But Rambo was one man. And the one thing in jail that you ain't got that Rambo had was hella guns.
You gotta be a man. You gotta have what you got.
Cause that's the one and I feel like that's the one aspect that a lot of young guys don't realize, you know, especially in this day and age. And like I said, you know, we talk about Chicago real heavy in the media, and the common theme is gun violence, you know, and some of these kids is like 12, 13, 14-year-old kids carrying fully automatic weapons, taking people's lives. Yeah. But the moment that they're extracted from society and put behind the wall, you no longer have that element, and everything is close quarters. So if you didn't learn how to fight in your life, or if you not one to do things up close and personal, it's not an environment that you are expected to, you know, survive in, if you will, unless once again you pretty much get into gang activity or get associated with groups because you're looking for protection, if you will. But like me personally, you know, I never was gang affiliated. I never changed my belief system because, you know, no disrespect to anybody who practice Islam, but I can say, you know, predominantly a lot of guys who are in the penal system, when they convert to Islam, it's because of it's a system of protection.
Yeah.
And they know they don't join in a gang, you know, there are actions that you have to do or commit to participate in that gang. So
let me ask you this. So how did you separate yourself from everything else that was going on inside while you was locked up? And how did you able to maintain that distance? You know what I'm saying?
Because like I said, with my background, it just separated me from a lot of guys who were of my age group. A lot of dudes who was my age can't say they went to college or had that type of experience. They've been living their life in the streets as long as from the moment they hopped off the porch. You know, they didn't have those kind of systems. And I'll be honest, you know, my mother wasn't strung out on drugs or doing crooked things to help us make it or to survive or whatever. She did it the straight era way. Like I said, you know, she had a full-fledged military career that she retired from. A lot of my peers incarcerated didn't have those circumstances. A lot of them had parents strung out on drugs or, you know, constant welfare recipients, were people who were downtrodden by the system, and their children are a product of it. You know, so I know for a fact that they didn't have my mental capacity to cope in that situation. And like I said, you know, the first thing they want to do is, like, with them coming from where they coming from, what helped them cope is getting high. So the first thing they looking for when they go in there is, oh man, who got that? Or putting themselves in those type of positions. Like I said, that wasn't me. I was always an observer, you know, and those, like I said, those older guys, older gentlemen, they observe it, because they watch everybody who, you know, kind of like come in. So by them seeing me and like, you know, I'm just laid back, all I'm doing is, you know, just put my routine together. Look, man, I'm just going to child, go to school, because they make you go to school your first 6 months in their joint. Go get my little
So I'm
record.
kind of fast forward to the day you being released into you coming home.
Right.
How was that feeling? Like, what's going on in your head?
Well, after almost 7 years, you can only imagine. Like I said, I don't just want to skip. Like, actually, I gave back some of the time of the 25 that I had. I was blessed because coming down, trying to get back this time, I had a new judge, a new prosecutor.
The lawyer?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it gave me an opportunity to represent myself. You know what I'm saying? I got a new judge. She don't know me. She didn't go through my case file. And like, to be honest, when I was incarcerated, I had some issues, you know. I even caught a street charge when I was locked up. But like early on, I was kind of like tripping. But like I said, you know, it was through the grace of an older gentleman who kind of like come from out of the same neighborhood, and we could relate. We had a commonality through a basketball coach. We used to coach at Suitland. Coach Massenberg, he knew, my man Will knew Coach Massenberg, and Coach Massenberg was coaching at Suitland when I was there, so that gave us that commonality. But Will was very savvy in the law. Like, he knew law, and he was dealing with 40 years himself. He's still trying to get back these 40 years, and I'm actually in the process of helping him because he helped me. You know, he looked at my case and all that and was like, oh yeah, man, you can get back. He filed the first motion for me to put me on the path to get home. And like, ultimately, like I said, that happened for me, and now I'm sitting here today, like I say.
Talking us, prime time.
Yeah, like I say, I feel like I'm playing with house money. I was supposed to be 43 years old when I came home from prison. That's a blessing. If it played out in the state favor. But, you know, just to answer your question, man, it's just like, I knew for a fact, just having the opportunity to come home, I knew for a fact, the statistics for recidivism is almost 70%. Almost 70% within the first 3 to 5 years, ex-offenders are likely to go back. You know, so I knew I had to like put myself in a situation. I had to put myself in a situation in order for me not to follow that trend. I needed, like they say, you gotta change people, places, and things. So the first thing I knew that I wanted to do was go back to school, because that's what I was doing at first. But this time, you know, I had the mentality, I had the maturity, where I knew for a fact that I could be successful in it, you know. So, and I ain't speak on it yet, but currently at the University of Maryland, I'm studying electrical engineering.
Yeah, we wanted to get to that, but we can jump into that right now. Before you jump into that, because that's really, you know, one of the reasons why I really wanted you to tell your story, because you sitting up here as electrical engineering major after all of that.
Right.
But, you know, in your conversations that you've had publicly, I want you to just kind of salute the dudes who really encouraged you to stay on your dean. Because you said it was a lot of OGs in there that was like, look, you can do it when you get out of here, and they was giving you mad jewels.
Right.
But what were they telling you? And you were saying that even at where you are today, like you owe them.
Yeah, without question, man, because I could have just been just another lost soul, going through all that steel and concrete, just still been in there. You know, they could have allowed me to still run amok. You know, just run my time up. But like I said, you know, it was a lot of dudes. You know, Will was the first one to help me, like put myself together and like really prepare myself. But you know, I met another guy in there, old head from Baltimore. His name was Louis Gibson, but you know his street name was Saki Lou. And like,
shout out Soggy Lou.
Yeah, like he told me a story, like it like really messed me up. You know, it was one of them stretches where, you know, I'm kind of like messing up on the compound, so I get sent to solitary confinement, Well, this was the time where I had a year on solitary because I got kicked out of a program jail that the courts ordered me to go to during my sentencing. So I'm serving that. So when I get kicked out of that jail, I come back to the Eastern Shore, and I ended up with a cell buddy, like I said, named Saki Lou. So me and him in the cell, you know, he was cool, old head, but for the first month, we wasn't really talking to each other. Like, you know, it's just respect thing. When the food tray come around, they open the door up. One of us hop off the bunk, you know, pass the when the tray, thank you, and that was the extent of our conversation, which means we only spoke 3 times a day for real. So one time, we was just in the cell reading books or whatever. The library come around and they handing out books, so I'm up there reading my book. And it was like a little section in the book, like I just could not stop crying, laughing, like I'm just up on the bunk tripping. So that's the first time I was like really like, oh man, you alright? What you up there tripping off of? I'm like, nah man, I'm just reading this book or whatever. So, you know, get to talking or whatever. So he started telling me a little bit about himself. You know, he come out of West Baltimore. I wanted to say he was from what is that, Sandtown, but don't quote me.
Sandtown, shout out to Sandtown, shout out to Baltimore.
But yeah, so long story short, Saki ended up telling me he's serving a life sentence for something that he didn't do. You know, he was like, yeah man, you know, one of my homeboys did it or whatever like that, and the guy don't even look out for me no more, you know, and I'm moving into my 35th year of incarceration for something that I didn't do, and he out on the streets just living life. The dude he say is the guy father constantly getting out on his son or whatever like that, because he like, man, that man virtually laid down his life for you, and you don't even have the decency to at least send him something, or like send him a card on his birthday, nothing. You just like, hey man, it is what it is type mentality. So when Saki kind of like told me that kind of like really woke me up to like, you know, dang, you done gave your life up for something you didn't do. I'm in here for something I did do, and I got the audacity to be sitting here tripping out and just acting the way I'm acting currently. So that like definitely hit home for me in a way. And then like I said, you know, you just see a lot of young guys in that joint who just, you know, youngest dude I met in there, he was like 16 years old. Man got 60 years. Yeah, so he will come into in adulthood incarcerated. Right. You know, so
he might have never even been with a woman.
Yeah, never. Some things he just will have never experienced in his life. Unless you know he keep it real, unless you know he gets certified, get him a CO or whatever like that, and
let's pray for that.
Like that. But in all actuality, he'll most likely have never experienced a woman.
See, the crazy thing is that everybody want to be a beast till it's time to do beast shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you thought you was a beast at 16. You know what I'm saying? I don't show you no sympathy. You know what I'm saying? You made a grown man decision. So because you made a grown man decision, you got to deal with the grown man consequences. You know what I'm saying? So where we come from, it ain't because you remember when you was 16, 17 years old, you was making real life decisions. So you know right from wrong. You know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, I really don't try to be too down bad on the young guys, because I feel like it's like a generational gap in our community, right?
Okay.
So if you think back to like the 80s and the early 90s and all of those men or whatever, those are the guys who are in the feds,
and that goes back to the whole thing when we talking about Chicago, right? Because you have dudes like a Jeff Ford, you know, like a Hoover, dudes who was running the gang situation out there, and it's a whole lot of other dudes who I'm not acknowledging.
Right.
But at the same time, like the reason why we seeing a lot of stuff going on in Chicago is because it ain't no structure.
Right.
It's because most of these dudes, like a Jeff Ford, Hoover, whoever, they locked up, and they left the whole vacuum on the structure of it. And so it's like the blind leading the blind right now.
Right. So like, yeah, you know, that stuff just like, it be heartbreaking to me, cause yeah, you can sit back and you even like see it in sports for real. You see, if we go to basketball, you see a lot of the older legends are constantly dogging the younger players or constantly getting out on the younger players, as opposed to like bridging with them, like,
Right.
man, this is how the game should be played,
Right.
as opposed to, oh man, yeah, he's this, why would you do this, you know, but like
Right.
that.
You see it in hip hop.
Right,
So-
you see it every day.
So I'm gonna kind of fast forward. Like, what the hell made you put in an application to murder? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you get on that journey?
Well, when I was, like I said, when I first came home, I started back out at PG. You know, like, what Drake's song, started from the bottom.
Now I'm in,
Yeah, man, you know, I had to get in them developmental classes, all of that, like, like my math, all of that was just like hit, so but like, that's the process, so.
So you started from the bottom.
Yeah, man, real talk, DVM 007,
Yeah.
no credit. Yeah, just had to do that class, and like just all of my classes, you know, and that's just the commitment that I made to myself, as well as the commitment, you know, I kind of like made to my mother, you know, like, man, you know, I just gotta do this, man.
That's respect.
You in PG, you're doing your thing, you're taking these classes. And when did it click to you that you wanted to do electrical engineering?
Oh, well, that's something that I found before I came home. I was watching CNN one night when I was in the cell, and they had brought a guy on by the name of Dr. Lonnie Johnson. So a lot of people, they familiar with what he created, but they don't know who he is. But Dr. Johnson, he invented the super soaker. So a lot of people just know Dr. Johnson for his super soaker, but Dr. Johnson is actually a very he an engineer, and he is a highly praised, highly sought after engineer. Not only is he an engineer, he's a black engineer. He's worked on projects that, you know, it will make your head spin. You know, he's worked on projects for NASA that done sent stuff out to Saturn and all of this type of stuff like that. So that's just what first caught my attention, but it's his current research now that just really had me intrigued by him. He's been working on projects that will pretty much put the oil industry out of business, for real. So that's kind of like what made me want to become an engineer. So when I came home, that was just the sights that I set for myself. I'm like, man, if I don't do nothing else, even if I get this degree and can't do nothing with it, I can still walk away saying I'm an engineer.
You're gonna do something with it.
Yeah, without question. But you know, I'm just look at it from all aspects.
So what's life like now that you made the transition from PG, now you're in Maryland, you're electrical engineering? How challenging is it?
Oh, I'm gonna keep it real. It's very challenging, and I ain't gonna act like I haven't had missteps in this process, you know.